Welcome back to our channel, Kagari Music Tutor. I'm your host Samuel, and today I'll be talking to you about a very important topic, in music and music education, and that is the topic of notes and the equivalent rest. So you can't, if you like, you call it notes and rest. Notes and rest. So what is a note? A note is a sound that you produce on any musical instrument, and as a matter of fact, with the advent of EDM, electronic digital music, a note doesn't necessarily have to be produced on a musical instrument. You can produce sounds, you make sounds, and you produce notes even from nature, from different sources. So a sound, basically a note. So the duration of that sound makes it the kind of, now depicts the kind of note it is. Whether it is a whole note, it's a half note, it is a quarter note, it is an eighth note, it's a 16th note, it's a 32nd note. And then, what is a rest? A rest is a silence. So when you stop playing your musical instrument for a certain period of time, it becomes a rest. It is silence. It becomes silence. It becomes a rest. So that is a rest, that is silence. And that also has the equivalent duration of maybe 4 beats, 8 beats, 2 beats, 1 beat, half a beat, 1/4 of a beat. So we're going to be talking about that briefly. I would like to say at this junction that we have two types of notes. We have the regular notes, which are like 4 beat, 8 beat, 2 beat, 1 beat, half beat, and the dotted notes, which are like 6 beats, 3 beats, 1.5 beats. So I'm going to start with the regular note and the regular rest. The first of this series is the O note. The O note. The O note also has an equivalent rest called the O rest. The O note is made up of 4 beats. It has 4 beat duration, and then also an equivalent 4 beat silence, which is the 4 beat rest, is the O rest. I would like to stress at this junction that every note in the musical vocabulary has relationship between it and the preceding and the succeeding notes. So relationship of double, 2, 2, 2. So that means that the O note is 4 beats. The next note in line is the half note, and also we have the half rest. Both of them have duration of 2 beats. After that, we have the next note after that, which is the quarter note. The quarter note has a duration of 1 beat, and also we have a quarter rest, as you can see on the screen. It has a quarter rest, and we have a quarter note. Next in line is the 8th note. The 8th note is just half of the quarter note. So usually 8 notes are written together in pairs, as you can see on the screen. They are written together in pairs. So the two 8 notes make up a quarter note. 2 8 notes will make a quarter note. So that's it. And also we have the 8th rest. We have the 8th rest as well. After that, we have the 16th note. The 16th note is sometimes called the Semiquaver. So in British parlance, it is 1/4 of a beat. Lest I forget, the 8th note is 1/2 of the half beat, half of a beat. So that means if you divide 1/4 note into 2, you get an 8th note. So if you also, in the same way, if you divide 8th note into 2, you get a 16th note. And then that brings me to the fact about the dotted note. The dotted note. What is a dotted note? A dotted note is a note that is increased in value by half of its original value. So when you have a whole note, for example, and then you have the value. You remember that a whole note is 4 beats. You have the value of a whole note, which is half of 4, which gives us 2 beats, and you now add that half value into the original 4 value. That gives you 6 beats. That is a dotted O note. That is a dotted O note. That means generally you can apply that principle to all the O notes. All O notes are made up of the original value of the note itself, like a half note now. Original value of half note is 2 beats. And then half of 2 beats is 1 beat. So if you add half of that 2 beats to, which is 1 beat to 2 beats, it gives you how many? 3 beats. So, and so on and so on. So that is the way you get a dotted note. Another way to look at dotted note is when you say that you add the next big note. That means that, for example, for your whole note, the next note in line is a half note. So the value of a whole note is 4 beats, and the value of a half note is 2 beats. So you add the next note in line to the note you want to dot. That gives you the value of the dotted notes, which is, in this case of the whole note, it is 4 beats, and then the next note in line is the half note. The value of the half note is 2. So 4 plus 2, it gives you 6 beats. So that's it. And also, I can make another example about on the quarter note. The quarter note, we all know that quarter note and the quarter rest, they have 1 beat duration. 1 beat duration. So if you dot a quarter note, what do you get? You get the next note in line. You are invariably adding the next note in line, which is the 8th note. And the 8th note, you know that it has a half beat duration. So you are having half beat to 1 beat. So that means that a dotted quarter note is 1.5 beats. What of the dotted 8th note? I want you guys to do the mathematics and get me the value of a dotted 8th note. Please leave the value and the solution in the comment space below. So in a nutshell, I will just quickly round off. We have 2 types of note. We have the regular note, and then we have the dotted note. And I've talked about note being sound that is produced and rest being silence. So we have a note and we have an equivalent rest. So the note can be 4 beats, which is a whole note, 2 beats, which is a half note, quarter note, which is 1 beat, 8th note, which is half a beat, and 16th note, which is 1/4 of a beat. So everything is we make reference to beat, because music usually is measured in beats. Please leave comment, like and subscribe our video. Thank you very much. Bye.